Everything good here? Okay. Okay. Now let's go with the next thing. Fine. So now the point is I'm just now trying to test it. If we use the same idea again, duplicate transaction happens. But now our focus is 10,000. That means this error is generated by validation service. So go in here, let's search. Where is this error coming from? Okay. Open it up. Go here. It is in validation service. This is how you have to debug. Like this. Duplicate transaction. Control H. See. Okay. Where it came from. There are multiple places where duplicate transaction can be thrown. Line number 36, 52. There are two places basically. Here also it is there. Here also it is there. Now you have to see where in the code did this block occur or this block occur. Okay. And how you can see that is by going to logs. So you have to go then to the logs. Okay. This is the console log for validation service. And here you go here. Okay. Payment error 10,018. This came. Okay. Next, duplicate transaction is mentioned in the log, means this statement. And here in the log, the second invocation, it is mentioned duplicate transaction while insert. So there are two different places. So then looking at the log, you can say, okay, so in the code, the error was raised by two places. Okay, but using the logs, you can differentiate. Okay, so but actually it is not this place, it is this place where the error is there. And then you should be able to relate your log statements with the code sequence to really understand, oh, merchant request, yahan pe, it got something from the database. Get merchant request from DAO layer to you got some object in the database. It was not null and then it threw this exception. And that is where then you see as a response, this code hit and accordingly you got this thing back here. Okay. So by this way, second level pe, so your steps will be first, take this error code, go to the code, identify the right code piece. Then from that place, then go to the log, search that kind of pattern. Maybe if you find, if you are not aware here, okay, let's say this was a console. It was easy for us to see in the console because we did only this last transaction. It might be a very big file. So in that case, you need to take this, go to the log file and try to go to the last occurrence of this. You will automatically be able to find whether it was this code or whether it was this code. So randomly try both. Try this and see whether this is the last occurrence. If you feel that is your place, good. Otherwise, try this, search for this in your log file. And then if this comes, that means this code executed. So by this way, log searching and your code both should go hand in hand. Okay, so this is important steps for debugging. Okay, fine. Now let's move on. Let's move on. So ye to ho gaya. Now let's do some experiments. So right now our validation service, core service is down. Okay, let's bring it back up. So core service is terminated. I'm just bringing the core service back up. Run as Spring Boot application. Okay, starting. That's it. Dekho, basic to theory itna hi hai. And whatever we demoed right now is how the code works and how you should search. Okay, so you should really make it as comfortable as possible for you to debug. And always go it with a mindset that when there is an error, that means there is something definitely wrong at somewhere. And now you have to become a detective. Okay, Chacha Chaudhary or koi bhi. Abhi detective ban ke dekhna hai code mein ki where it is going wrong. It is pretty interesting. Like debugging becomes a game. Okay, if you really enjoy IT and your job, you will find that debugging is so much interesting. It's like finding something. Maza aata hai, theek hai? So try to really enjoy debugging rather than being afraid of that. You should enjoy debugging why it is not working. And it's like your intelligence will grow more when you debug. If everything goes right smoothly, then you will be like, "Arey yaar, kaise ho raha hai?" And with experience, things will start happening smoothly for you. Because you will, while you code, you will already know, oh, this is going to be the problem. So you will code it already in a manner. And with experience, you will get better. But debugging ko enjoy it because that's how it is good. Okay, fine. Now let me change this 03, calling this. So now everything is end to end up. It's not a duplicate transaction. Everything is fine. It came here. Okay. We have a lot of errors in the system. Okay. So let's say I'm passing, we have validation checks. You can play around with it. So, okay, duplicate merchant. We are changing the merchant. Testing. Now, bad request. Given amount parameter is not valid. So by this way, you can do the testing. You will know, oh, 10,000, that means validation service make, there is a check which does this amount check. So you can now pinpoint things very cleanly. Now you fixed it. Now it is working end to end. Okay? By this way, end to end, if trustly, let's see whether any check is there for trustly. It completely depends upon the code, but it helps you to now debug. Okay, given provider ID parameter is not valid. So this is called as provider ID. It is not valid. So that means somewhere in the code, there is a check what this value should be. So you change this back to the earlier version, a new request, try it out. By that way, you check every single code which you have coded by making some hacks here, by seeing it there. Okay, fine. Now let's try to generate some more kind of responses. Okay. And what is the right place to generate responses is go to the error code, enum of maybe payment provider service. Okay. Now, so in this, there are a lot of places. Earlier, we saw 30,002. Okay, when we were trying to connect to Trustly, it was not working out. So we were able to test this. Okay. Now, can we test failed to create signature? यहाँ पे your debugging maturity should further evolve. You should ask yourself, what can we do to test every single possibility of code now? Okay, if I want to check this failed to create signature, we have to now come up with a use case. What can we do to test it? Something you have to make a tweak in the system so that it actually gives you this kind of an error. That's how you should think. And now then you can look at the code. Yes, in the exception block it is coming, but this exception block is here where signature generation logic happens. So now somehow you have to think, okay, you need to do some changes in the code or somewhere hack it up so that this exception actually comes. And then it will throw this, and then we can be sure, okay, yes, this code is working properly and it is being returned end to end to the calling server invoker. Now, point is, you have to get in more detail. You can try that. It can come anytime, any place. Okay, thoda sochna padega. But one simple place is we are generating it, and for generation we use a private key. Okay, so we already know this RSA logic. We use a private key for generation. Now the question comes is, what if I just rename the private key so that it will not find this file and maybe then throw some exception there because it is not able to find it. So that could be a starting place where you start experimenting. So we are in payment provider. It is looking for a file src main resources private.pem. So src main resources private.pem. Yes, it is looking for that. What if I just rename this only for testing purpose? Private-test. Okay, fine. This is the payment provider may be modified. So be very careful where you are making changes. Okay, and now you go back to the payment provider, bring this service down, start it back again. Okay, this is one is the application. DB starting. Tomcat started on 8083. It is started. Coming back here, providing a new 2008. Let's call. Failed to create trustly signature, right? 30,004. Now you don't know what this is. Control H, search this code, knows that 30,000 series is coming from this place. You go there, you look at the call hierarchy. Okay, here you know, oh, that exception came. And now you have to then relate with the logs. Why that exception came. So right now we know that we have made a rename of the file. That is where the exception is. But the right approach will be, oh, this exception came. Then you should be like, okay, what exactly? Why exactly? What went wrong? What was the exception? And then you go back. Validation service, no, it is payment provider service. And then you go to the statement, churning the logs. What is happening? Failed to create trustly signature. That's fine. Exception while creating signature. So this statement came, okay, fine. And then, okay, signature, you're trying started for this. So you can understand, like if you like go up, search it out where this statement is there, get private started. So you can just simply look at the code here. Maybe it's not there here somewhere. So it could be in generate signature. You get inside the generate signature. Here also nothing is there. You get inside this, and then yes, you are here. The code came to this place. It is trying to look for this path. Okay, this is printed. And after that, there is nothing. That means exception came here itself. Okay, that means it was not able to maybe create it, because otherwise this logger should have been there. But now you see in the logs, okay, private is mentioned. This one is mentioned, but this logger is not there. And there is only one line mentioned here. That means it was not able to read the file. That means ye path mein gadbad hai. And then you look for this path, and then you will realize, oh, in this resources, that file is not there because there is we have done some testing change. By this way, you reverse track what is happening with logs. If the logs are not clear, you add more logger statements to track this progress, or run your application in debug mode if alone you are testing it. And then also you can find line by line where what has gone wrong and how it threw an exception. By that way, everything is pinpointed. Yahan pe dekho, logs ko dekh ke we got to know, okay, this log did not come. That means error is happened at this place only. And now you should be like, what is wrong with